Alrighty, welcome to Trans Talk with Kai, where I interview other trans people about their experiences and their pros and cons, trials and tribulation to their transition. I hope this will be a good learning experience, and even if you don't learn, I hope you just enjoy. So come catch a vibe, and yeah, let's get it. Welcome back to another episode of Trans Talk with Kai. My guest today is
Jace.
So Jace, this is your first interview. So this is probably gonna be like kind of quick because ain't none of these questions too crazy. First question is though, how did you know you were trans?
So for me, and I tell this story to many people, I don't have childhood memories like most people do. I don't really have tangible memories that I can remember in a straight line until I'm in the fourth grade.
Damn.
So for me, the realization, it was probably there through my entire life, but my brain couldn't connect it without the memories associated with it. That was until one day some of my coworkers were talking about gender identity and all this stuff, and how we're all just a little fruity at scooters. Um, but I sat down. I was like, yeah, I'm super confident in my gender fluidness. Because I was gender fluid for a really long time, and then there was a thought in my head that told me, "Are you gender fluid, or you're just trying to please people whose admiration or validation you don't need?" And that's kind of when my brain went, wait, and then took it down the rabbit hole of a gender identity crisis, not knowing what's going on yet again. And eventually realized just like I don't identify with the feminine at all. Like it just does not ping on my radar. And I vibe more with the masculine, and not in just a way of, oh, I don't like feminine things, in the way of, oh, I hate how I look in the mirror now.
Yeah.
That's kind of when my brain was like, oh, okay.
All right. Okay, so next question. What are your pronouns and how did you go about choosing your name?
My pronouns are he, him. That is also a another little story, little background. Because of my whenever I encounter things that I think need to be like shoved away and hidden, memories sometimes for me break up until later, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. So when I was in high school, I was actually going by the name Jace. Now I completely forgot about this fact until I was thinking up names and was like going through the J names. I was like, huh, Jace. Why does that? And the memory's triggered. You know, kind of like sometimes I need my memory jogged before I can remember certain things.
Yeah. You need something to trigger your memory.
Yeah. But I was like, I really liked that name back then. It's the name of one of my favorite book characters. I'm gonna go with Jace.
Okay. I can dig it. Okay, so kind of sum up your actual coming out story for us.
So for me, it was a little bit easier with my coworkers and my roommate who's also trans. Um, because really it just became a point of, I was going by he, they pronouns because I was still a little like fearful in the beginning. But eventually, with like the people around me and how they kept adopting to just calling me he, I completely dropped the they, them and was sticking with he, him. My coworkers and roommate definitely made it a lot easier on me. I was lucky in that aspect. I still haven't told my adoptive family, don't think I ever will. But my chosen family knows, and well, they struggle a little bit, especially my mom. They only but they catch themselves every time they mess up.
I want to say the effort is there. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Um but
It's-
they actually confronted me about it because I'd made a video on TikTok and my little sister saw that video. My little sister showed my mom and dad. So they actually confronted me about it and I was like, "Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a thing."
I said, oh
It's kind
yeah.
of a funny story.
Man, that's like when I came out to my dad as pansexual, that was the funniest shit ever. Cause like I don't even remember how. Well, me and my dad used to like beef a lot. We cool now, but like we really used to bump heads. And I'm the type, you're just not about to stress me out. So I would really just completely forget your whole existence, out of sight, out of mind. I'm not dealing with it. Like I don't care. I am the master of detachment. I will, even if I'm sad, I will be sad in silence. I will take it with me to the grave. Call it petty, call it what you want, but you're not about to run my pressure up. Just not dealing with it. So he came back around and we were all in my mom's kitchen. And I don't remember who said something, but at the time I was like, I wasn't dating this dude. Actually, yeah, no, I did have a boyfriend, but I was dating a dude. And my dad just looked at me and he was like, wait, what? And my mom was like, oh, yeah, you didn't know? And he just looked at me and he said, you let somebody tap that? And bro, when I say I just died laughing and walked off, I didn't say nothing else to him. I just went back in my room and he was just out there shook and was like, what? It's funny. He's starting to understand the situation more. But last night he made a comment that let me know he don't get it. He getting it, but he ain't got it. Cause I was saying, like I said, I gotta go and make my appointment. I was like, while I'm there, I'm gonna just go ahead and get tested. He was like, get tested for what? I was like, for whatever there is that exists. Like, what do you mean? Every time I go, I just go ahead and be like, okay, test me. So he was like, you still be having sex with dudes? And I was like, on occasion. Like, I be having sex. What do you mean?
What do
Like,
you mean? This never stopped.
yeah. Right. Like but he thought that he thought I was changing my sexuality. And I was like, no, my sexuality and my gender do not go hand in hand. Like
I still will be pan
bisexual,
romantic, demi.
pansexual
Yeah,
man exist.
yeah.
Like
I will be at the end of this. I will still be pan romantic, demisexual, polyamorous. That part's not gonna change. What is gonna
no,
change
I
is
can say I did develop way more of an attract. Well, I'm not gonna say way more, but like I did get more comfortable being attracted to men post T. And like once I started them hormones, dude, the way I don't know. After I started hormones, I was at work one day and this boy came in and he was very clearly a sassy one. Like he was a spicy boy. And he had a mean little walk on him. And I was like, wait a minute, I like that. But like before hormones,
it's that
before
moment of
hormones,
wait a minute. That
yeah.
that I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
beforehand, I used to just kind of like really only like boys just had to really visually do it for me. Versus now, I'm somewhat more attracted to men. I have no patience though, so I get fed up quickly with everybody. I have way more of a soft spot for women than I do for men. But after them shots, I, I'm a fan of back shots. I can't lie. I can't lie. Okay.
As I'm over here taking bits of chicken and shoving it in my mouth.
Okay. So the next question you kind of already answered, but it also doesn't like the next question was about like your personality changing, but you haven't started your hormones, and on top of that, you already understand you just are who you are as a person. the,
Yeah.
the hormones might change how
Um
you act emotionally, but
yeah, my therapists are always like, you're very self-aware, but there's still room for improvement. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm a very, and sometimes like I realize that self-awareness is a scale. Some people have no self-awareness, so they feel no embarrassment how they act, especially Karens. And there are people who have a higher sense of self-awareness. Those tend to be like, if you're talking even in a spiritual sense, those tend to be your more highly intuitive, highly powerful beings. The more self-aware you are, the more control you have over your own energy, and thus can take control of energy outside of you.
it's like self-awareness and emotional intelligence,
Yes.
a great combination.
And I feel like people who think like, oh, your entire personality, everything but just gonna change, don't have the same sense of self-awareness as someone who's like, no, my core personality will continue to forever stay in my core personality because that was born not by hormones, but by the interactions I've had around me.
So those are people that I feel like be like real emotionally impulsive. Like those are
Mm-hmm.
the type of people you can easily manipulate. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And that I feel like regardless of the hormones, people just need to work on themselves in general. Because at the
Yes.
end of the day, there is literally always room for improvement, regardless of how good a person you are. You can always work to be great. You can always work to be better. And if you don't have that mind frame, then that means you're not going to be accountable. And no mistake you make is ever going to be a mistake. You know what I mean? Like you're not going
A
to acknowledge
mistake.
it, therefore you're not going to learn from it. You can't grow from it if you don't acknowledge it.
Yeah,
And then you add hormones in the mix. Now you just kind of now you got another thing to blame it on, and people who are less educated will take that and run with
exactly. And on top of that, like, so I got a ruin reading from one of my very favorite people on TikTok. I'll keep his name out of here because he likes to get to know people before um he gets to know them, you know what I mean? But they gave me a ruin reading and again, almost both of my rune readings talked about me being highly intuitive and highly self-aware and learning the lessons of life. And I'm like, yeah, that all tracks.
it.
Track in a straight line, man.
But, hey, you off to a great start. It's gonna be uh a journey like any other. It's gonna be some smooth parts, some rough parts. But overall, I cannot lie. It is worth it.
No, I had someone
I ain't
tell
lying.
me, oh, so you're trying testosterone. Is your temper gonna get hotter than it already is? That's what's gonna happen. I'm like, oh.
I ain't gonna lie, it's a little bit possible.
It's possible it'll get a little worse, but again, that
Um,
anger is never going to be turned outward because it never is. It never was in the
but
beginning. It never.
that's where self-control really comes in handy because I am so grateful I decided to take like, start a spiritual journey and work on my anger management before I started hormones because once I started hormones, I was like, I can see why shittier people become the shittiest after this one because it's like you do, especially like I said, I'll get my shot later today. So probably about a couple hours into my shift, I'm gonna feel this surge of strength and energy. And I don't know what it is about feeling strong, but like that's just not the time for somebody to rub you the wrong way because it's like I kind of already have anger issues, like I said beforehand. And
Yeah.
then I got this like Superman strength mode, and it's something about that man brain. I feel like I can fight a fucking bear after I get my shot. So like it doesn't necessarily make your attitude worse, but you definitely gonna have a little more. You gonna you chest gonna be out because bitch what like it's like I'm a man bitch I will go to war with you right now.
And oh my god, that's another thing. it's so funny because, you know, I am a veteran, right? And people all go like, oh, are you trying to be a man so you can join the military? I went, done, did
Been there,
that,
done
checked that fucker off the list. You about 2 years too motherfucking late.
that. And also, thank you for your service, big dog.
Thank you for the support.
Um, so like I said, Fred, we gonna have to circle back to some of these questions. Um, I'll give you like I'll say maybe a month or so, 2 months after you start your hormones, because the last like 3 or 4 questions pertain to changes and stuff on hormones. So we gonna get to see, which is exciting. I did that.
Oh, I can't
This
wait.
is so all right. I'm so happy we doing this. Oh my god, yay, yay. But
It's also really nice
you
to
know,
have a group of people who like get excited for you.
right, bro, we got our own little gang. I love that for us.
Hell yeah.
We need some more girls though. I feel like the girls can't carry all that weight by themselves. Although
But they're
Cora and
doing
Brandy
it
do a great
elegantly.
job. I'm about to say, yeah, Cora and Brandy do an amazing job. But I feel like the same way, I feel like although they know we support them, you gotta admit we have a different kind of level of like we
Yeah.
got a brotherhood. You see what I'm saying? We have
Yeah.
a brotherhood and we have a community. And then they have a community and sisters within each other. But you said like I feel like I want more trans women because I want everybody to have more people to be able to relate to and talk to and compare notes with and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like how we're all at different points in our transition, there might be notes that they can compare with each other. Because like a lot of the things that I've talked about with both of them, I had absolutely no clue. Like as a trans man, I was completely unaware of how certain the same steps in the transition were like different for trans women. That's why it's important to have this conversation and to have these different people. So fingers crossed we can get a little more
Holy shit.
of a
I'm
cushion.
sorry. That shit, I don't know if you can tell when the wave hit,
I wouldn't go say nothing.
but that shit
Yeah.
came and it went. I was like, oh.
Now you are officially elevated. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up this interview. And until the next one, little Brody. Later.